The uninvited guest. Ryan woke up to a strange noise. It was a soft, dragging sound, like someone moving furniture very slowly. His small living space on the edge of the colony was supposed to be empty. He lived alone. The door was locked, wasn't it? He sat up in bed, his heart pounding. The clock on his wall flickered, showing it was past midnight. The colony outside was silent, with only the occasional hum of distant machinery. Another noise, this time closer. Ryan reached for the small flashlight beside his bed. His fingers trembled as he switched it on. A dim glow filled the room, casting long shadows on the walls. He held his breath, listening. A soft creak came from the living room. Someone was inside. His mind raced. Had a thief broken in? But what would a thief want from his tiny apartment? He barely had anything worth stealing. Food, a few old books, some spare clothes, nothing valuable. Slowly, he slid out of bed, careful not to make a sound. He picked up a metal tool from his nightstand, his only defense. Step by step, he moved toward the living room, his pulse hammering in his ears. The air felt different, heavy. The moment he stepped into the doorway, his breath caught in his throat. A figure stood in the middle of the room. Tall, elegant, alien. The dim light reflected off smooth, silver-toned skin. A woman. At least, she looked like one. She had long, flowing white hair, sharp features, and glowing blue eyes that seemed to pierce through the darkness. She wore strange armor, sleek and dark, with faint lines of energy running across it. Ryan tightened his grip on the metal tool. Who are you? His voice was barely more than a whisper. The alien woman tilted her head slightly, as if studying him. Then she spoke, her voice smooth but firm. You left your door open. That means I can claim you. Ryan blinked. What? She took a step closer. Ryan instinctively raised his makeshift weapon. Do not be afraid, human. This is an honor. Honor. His mind struggled to keep up. What are you talking about? And how did you get in? She gestured toward the entrance. The door was open. Ryan turned his head slightly, just enough to glance at the door. His stomach sank. It was open, just a few inches, swinging ever so slightly in the artificial air circulation. He could have sworn he locked it. But that wasn't the real problem right now. He focused back on the alien woman. That doesn't explain why you're here. She nodded, as if expecting the question. In my culture, an open door is an invitation. It means you are ready to be claimed, to form a bond. Ryan felt his brain short-circuit. Claimed? Bond? What do you mean? Her glowing eyes watched him intently. Then, in a graceful motion, she knelt down on one knee. From this moment, you are my brother. Ryan nearly dropped the flashlight. Excuse me. What? The alien woman placed a hand over her heart, then extended it toward him. A formal gesture, full of meaning. I am Kalira of the Tisseri. I have chosen you as my kin. From now on, I will protect you as a sister protects her own blood. Your enemies will be my enemies. Your battles will be my battles. We are bound. Ryan stared at her, completely frozen. This had to be a dream. A weird, crazy dream. Maybe he hit his head earlier and was hallucinating. Maybe someone spiked his food. But no, everything felt too real. Her silver skin, her glowing eyes, the way her voice echoed slightly in the quiet room. And worst of all, she believed what she was saying. Ryan took a slow step back. Look, Kalira, right? There's been a misunderstanding. I'm not part of your culture. I didn't mean to leave my door open. It was an accident. So, no offense, but... Kalira's gaze hardened. The bond is made. It cannot be undone. Panic started creeping into Ryan's chest. That's ridiculous. You can't just claim people because of a door. Her expression didn't change. It is the way of the Tisseri. To reject it would be unwise. Unwise how? Ryan asked cautiously. Calera stood. Even without moving, she radiated power, strength, authority. She sighed, almost regretfully. A rejected bond is seen as an insult, a deep one. If word spreads, others will challenge you. Some may even see it as a reason to fight, to test your worth. Ryan swallowed hard. He was just a normal guy living in a quiet colony. He wasn't a fighter. He wasn't a warrior. He didn't even like arguing with people at the market. Now he was being told that rejecting this bond might lead to duels. This can't be happening, he muttered under his breath. Calera stepped closer, her expression softening slightly. You are afraid. That is understandable. But do not fear, Ryan of Earth. I will guide you. I will teach you. And when the time comes, you will stand strong. Ryan let out a shaky breath. This was insane. Completely, utterly insane. And yet, something deep inside him told him she was serious. His life had just changed. Forever. And he wasn't sure he could stop it. A sister from the stars. Ryan didn't sleep. How could he? There was an alien woman sitting in his living room, casually inspecting his old coffee mug as if it were some rare artifact. Her silver-toned skin gleamed under the dim lights, her glowing blue eyes scanning every inch of his tiny home. Calera, the self-proclaimed sister he never asked for, had made herself comfortable. Ryan stood near the doorway to his bedroom, watching her like a man who had just discovered a wild animal in his house. All right, he said, rubbing his temples, trying to process everything. Let's go over this one more time. Calera looked up. Of course, brother. Ryan winced. Don't call me that. But you are my brother now, she said simply. You left your door open. The bond has been made. That's not how things work here, Ryan argued. On Earth, just because someone leaves their door open doesn't mean you can waltz in and. He gestured toward her, exasperated. Claim them as family. Calera tilted her head slightly. Then why leave the door open? Ryan threw his hands up. I didn't mean to. It was a mistake. She blinked. Then you are saying, you left yourself vulnerable. He frowned. I guess. Calera nodded as if he had just confirmed something important. Then it is even more my duty to stay. Ryan groaned. No, it's really not. Calera set the mug down, her expression turning serious. Listen well, human. The Tiseri believe in strength, not just of the body, but of the spirit. A person who leaves themselves unguarded is either foolishly brave or hopelessly naive. Either way, they require a guardian. Ryan stared at her. I don't need a guardian. I'm fine. Calera gave him a skeptical look. You live alone. No defenses. No security measures. No weapons. She folded her arms. You are not fine. Ryan hesitated. It wasn't wrong exactly. He lived on the edge of the colony, in one of the cheaper housing blocks. Crime wasn't common here, but there were rumors of raiders in the outer territories. Still, he had never thought much about it. I take care of myself, he insisted. Calera smirked. Is that why you look so soft? Ryan's mouth fell open. Excuse me. She pointed at his arms. Your muscles are small. Your posture is lazy. Your reflexes slow. Ryan scowled. Wow. Great way to talk to your brother. Calera shrugged. I only speak the truth. Ryan exhaled sharply, trying to keep his temper in check. He had dealt with difficult people before, but Calera wasn't just difficult. She was impossible. He needed a new approach. Taking a deep breath, he tried reasoning with her. Calera, I appreciate whatever this is, but I'm not part of your culture. Your rules don't apply to me. Calera's expression turned unreadable. You think culture is only about rules. Ryan hesitated. Isn't it? She stepped closer. A culture is a promise, a bond that ties people together. It is strength given by unity. She placed a hand on her chest. The Tesseri bond is sacred. And now, that bond is yours as well. Ryan looked at her, exasperated. But I didn't agree to it. Kalira smirked again. That is where we differ, human. The bond is not made with words. It is made with action. And now, you must prove you are worthy. Ryan's stomach sank. What do you mean prove? Kalira gestured toward the door. Come, your first test awaits. Ryan groaned. Yeah, no, not happening. Kalira's smirk widened. Ah, but you misunderstand. It is already happening. Before he could protest, she grabbed his wrist and dragged him out the door. And just like that, Ryan's life took another sharp turn toward insanity. The first trial. Ryan's morning started with a rude awakening. Not the usual kind. The kind where you wake up to an alarm and hit snooze 5 times. No, this was a Sari-style wake-up call, which meant being thrown out of bed. One moment he was deep in sleep, dreaming about something peaceful, like earth beaches or a quiet cup of coffee. The next, he was airborne. Rise, brother. Ryan hit the floor with a painful thud and groaned. What the? Kalira stood over him, arms crossed, looking far too smug for someone who had just committed an act of war. You sleep too much. Weak. Ryan rolled onto his back, staring at the ceiling, questioning every life choice that led him here. This is assault. This is training. Ryan sat up, rubbing his sore shoulder. Training for what? Kalira grinned. Your first trial. Ryan narrowed his eyes. You keep saying that, but you haven't told me what it actually is. Kalira gestured toward the door. Come and see. Ryan sighed. He knew arguing wouldn't help. Ever since she declared him her brother, Kalira had made it her mission to integrate him into Tesseri customs, whether he liked it or not. Reluctantly, he pulled on his boots and followed her outside. The colony's training grounds were a large open area near the outskirts, usually reserved for security drills and visiting mercenary units. Today, however, it was occupied by something far worse. Sari warriors. Ryan stopped dead in his tracks. Nope. Nope, 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 I'm not fighting them. Kalira clapped a hand on his shoulder. Of course not. That would be suicide. Ryan exhaled in relief. You'll be fighting that. She pointed to a nearby training field. Ryan followed her gaze. His relief died instantly. A massive 8-foot-tall combat droid stood in the center of the field, its metal plating gleaming under the artificial sun. It looked like someone had taken a tank, given it legs, and programmed it to ruin his day. Ryan slowly turned to Kalira. You have to be kidding me. She grinned. I am not. Kalira, that thing could kill me. She nodded approvingly. Exactly. That's what makes it a real challenge. Ryan groaned. You people have a terrible sense of fun. Kalira nudged him forward. Do not worry, brother. The droid is set to training mode. It will not kill you. Ryan exhaled. Oh, thank God. It will only break you. Ryan stared at her. That's not better. Kalira laughed. Go. Show me what humans are made of. Ryan wanted to run, but he knew she wouldn't let him. With a deep breath, he stepped onto the field. The combat droid turned to face him. A mechanical voice echoed through the arena. Begin. Ryan gulped. Then the droid charged. He had just enough time to scream before it was on him. A dangerous bond. Ryan's ribs hurt. Correction, everything hurt. His arms, his legs, his pride. Especially his pride. He lay flat on his back, staring at the colony's artificial sky, trying to remember how breathing worked. The combat droid had tossed him around like a ragdoll for what felt like an eternity. His only victory. He was still alive. Barely. A shadow loomed over him. Kalira's face appeared in his vision, her silver skin gleaming under the training field lights. She was smirking. Of course she was smirking. You lasted 3 minutes, she said, nodding in approval. Better than I expected. Ryan groaned. That was horrible. She reached down, grabbing his arm and pulling him up like he weighed nothing. Pain is the forge of strength, brother. Be proud. I'm plenty strong, he muttered, wobbling on his feet. I survived that ridiculous test. Kalera's smirk faded. Surviving is not enough. Ryan frowned. What's that supposed to mean? She glanced around the training grounds. The other Tiseri warriors were watching, judging, some with curiosity, some with amusement, others with something darker, disapproval. Kalera's voice dropped low. Word has spread, Ryan. The other clans know of our bond now. Ryan blinked. Okay. So what? She gave him a look. They do not see you as my brother. They see you as my weakness. A cold feeling settled in Ryan's gut. Kalera continued, her tone serious. Among the Tiseri, bonds are sacred, but only if they are worthy. If they believe you are weak, they will challenge me. If I am defeated, they will demand I renounce our bond. Ryan rubbed his sore shoulder. And let me guess, renounce means something bad. Kalera's jaw tightened. It means they would claim you. Ryan felt his stomach drop. Claim me. As in take you for their clan. You would no longer be my brother. You would be theirs. And if they see you as unworthy, they will break you to make you strong. Ryan paled. Break me. Kalera didn't answer. She didn't need to. Ryan ran a hand through his hair, trying to process the madness. Yesterday, he was just a regular guy living a quiet life. Today, he was caught in some ancient alien warrior politics. I didn't ask for any of this, he muttered. Kalera placed a firm hand on his shoulder. Neither did I. Ryan looked up at her, surprised. Her glowing blue eyes softened. I chose this bond not because of tradition, but because I saw something in you. A spark. A fire. You may not be Tisari, but I believe you can stand among us. Ryan exhaled slowly. And if I don't? She let go of his shoulder, her expression turning hard again. Then the challenges will come, and I may not be able to stop them. A long silence stretched between them. Ryan looked back at the warriors watching from the edges of the training field. Some of them were already whispering, planning. He wasn't just some outsider to them. He was an opportunity. His fate was no longer his own. Ryan clenched his fists. All right, he said. If I'm stuck in this mess, I might as well fight back. Kalera grinned. Good, because your next trial begins now. Ryan barely had time to groan before she shoved him back toward the training field. The duel of honor. Ryan never thought his life would come down to a fight to prove he belonged to an alien family. Yet here he was, standing in a combat circle, heart pounding, sweat dripping down his neck, while an 8-foot-tall Tisari warrior cracked his knuckles across from him. The warrior's name was Vakor. He was built like a war machine, all muscle and scars, his dark armor etched with symbols Ryan didn't understand. The Tiseri spectators surrounded the circle, their glowing eyes locked on the human standing in the arena. They weren't expecting a victory. They were expecting a lesson. Kalera stood at the edge of the ring, arms crossed, her expression unreadable. She had warned him. This challenge was inevitable. Someone would step forward to test his bond with her. And if Ryan lost too easily, it wouldn't just be his humiliation. It would be hers. You are unproven, Vakor growled, stepping forward. A weak link in Kalera's honor. I will show her the truth. Ryan swallowed hard. Any chance we can talk this out? Vakor grinned. No. Ryan sighed. Figured. A horn blared. The duel had begun. A fight he couldn't win. Vakor moved fast. Ryan barely had time to dodge as a massive fist whistled past his head. He stumbled back, trying to stay on his feet. His instincts screamed, "This guy fights like a trained killer." The crowd murmured as Vakor advanced again. Ryan had no plan, no strategy. He wasn't a warrior. He was a guy who worked in a repair shop. And right now, he was about to get obliterated. Vakor lunged, swinging low. Ryan barely twisted out of the way, but the sheer force of the movement sent him off balance. A fist slammed into his gut. The air rushed out of his lungs. Ryan hit the ground, gasping. Vakor stepped back, shaking his head. Pathetic. The crowd murmured again. Calera remained silent, watching. Ryan coughed, clutching his stomach. His brain screamed at him to stay down. This wasn't a fair fight. He had no armor, no training, nothing. But something about Vakor's words burned in his chest. Pathetic. That's what they all thought. That's what they expected. Ryan gritted his teeth. No, he wasn't going down like this. Fighting like a human. Ryan pushed himself up. Vakor raised an eyebrow, amused. You can stand. Good. Now fall again. The Tiseri warrior lunged. Ryan didn't dodge. Instead, he did the one thing Vakor wasn't expecting. He moved forward. As the massive alien swung, Ryan dropped low at the last second, slipping underneath the blow. His shoulder slammed into Vakor's knee. Not a powerful hit, but just enough to throw him off balance. Vakor staggered. The crowd gasped. Ryan didn't stop. He had no strength advantage, but he had speed. He ducked another punch, moving like a brawler, not a warrior. He wasn't following Tiseri battle rules. He was using human street fighting instincts. Dodge. Move. Stay unpredictable. Vakor growled in frustration. He swung wide. Ryan twisted and grabbed a handful of sand from the ground. With a quick snap, he threw it into Vakor's face. The warrior roared as the dust hit his eyes. The crowd gasped louder. Calera's smirk widened. Vakor swung blindly. Ryan ducked under it and slammed his elbow into the alien's ribs. It wasn't enough to do real damage, but it was enough to send a message. Ryan wasn't trying to win this fight their way. He was fighting his way. The turning point. Vakor blinked the sand from his eyes, his breathing heavy. He looked at Ryan. Really looked at him. The human was not weak. Not because of strength, not because of skill, but because he refused to break. Slowly, Vakor lowered his fists. The crowd fell silent. Ryan stood there, chest heaving, ready for more. But it wasn't necessary. Vakor stepped back. I yield. Gasps rippled through the warriors. Ryan blinked. Did he just win? Calera grinned. He recognizes your spirit. Vakor gave Ryan a nod. You fight like no warrior I have ever seen. Strange. Unpredictable. But not weak. His eyes glowed with something new. Respect. Ryan exhaled, trying to process what just happened. He wasn't stronger. He wasn't faster. But he had earned something more valuable. He had earned his place. A human's true strength. Ryan expected to feel victorious. He had stood against a Tiseri warrior in a duel and somehow walked away without a broken spine. That should have been a win, right? But as he sat by the training grounds, pressing an ice pack to his bruised ribs, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was far from over. The Tiseri around him still whispered. Some looked impressed. Others looked unsettled. Calera sat beside him, watching the warriors. Her expression was unreadable, but Ryan knew her well enough by now. She was thinking. Finally, she spoke. You surprised them today. Ryan winced as he shifted the ice pack. Yeah, surprised myself too. Calera smirked. You did not win with strength or speed. You won with something far more dangerous. Ryan raised an eyebrow. Oh yeah, what's that? She leaned in slightly. Cleverness. Ryan blinked. Wait, Tiseri don't fight smart. Calera shook her head. Tiseri warriors are raised to fight with honor, strength, discipline. They follow the ways of battle that have existed for centuries. She gestured toward the dueling circle. You broke the rules. Ryan scratched his head. I didn't break the rules. I just, bent them. A little. Kalira chuckled. Exactly. She turned serious again. And that is why they fear you now. Ryan frowned. Fear me? That guy could have snapped me in half. Kalira nodded. And yet you fought in a way he could not predict. You adapted. You thought instead of relied on brute force. The Tiseri respect power, but what they truly fear is the unknown. Ryan exhaled, looking at the other warriors. Some still glanced at him, murmuring. They see you differently now, Kalira continued. You are not just a weak human, you are a wild human. Ryan snorted. Wild? Like some kind of stray animal. Kalira smirked. Perhaps. A clever one. Ryan shook his head. Great. So now instead of thinking I'm weak, they think I'm some unpredictable little freak. Kalira's grin widened. Yes. Ryan groaned. Fantastic. The real threat. Before Ryan could complain more, a deep voice interrupted. This is far from over, human. Ryan turned, and immediately wished he hadn't. A new Tiseri stood before him. Not just any warrior. This one was dressed in royal armor, dark and polished, with a crest that gleamed under the artificial sun. His piercing violet eyes locked onto Ryan, radiating sheer authority. Kalira's smirk disappeared. She stood up, her entire posture shifting, ready for a fight. Ryan swallowed hard. Who's this guy? Kalira's voice was tight. This is Vakorin. Ryan raised an eyebrow. Wait. Vakor. Didn't I just fight him? Kalira shook her head. No. That was his younger brother. Ryan's stomach dropped. Vakorin looked down at him, unimpressed. Your tricks may have worked on a cub, but they will not work on me. Ryan resisted the urge to groan. Let me guess. You're here to challenge me next. Vakorin's lips curled into something that was not a smile. Not yet, but soon. Kalira stepped between them. He is under my protection. Vakorin's gaze didn't waver. For now. Then, without another word, he turned and left. Ryan exhaled the breath he didn't realize he was holding. That guy gives off final boss energy. Kalira didn't laugh. You should be careful, Ryan. He is not like his brother. Ryan rubbed his face. Great, so I just pissed off an even stronger alien warrior. Kalira nodded. Yes. Ryan groaned. I hate my life. The final stand. Ryan knew trouble was coming before the alarms even sounded. The tension in the air had been thick all day. Tiseri warriors whispered when they thought he wasn't listening. Kalira had been on edge, constantly scanning their surroundings. And Vakorin, the Tiseri prince who had promised to challenge him, had been nowhere to be seen. That was the biggest warning sign. So when the colony's security sirens blared through the night, Ryan wasn't even surprised. He was, however, very concerned. He barely had time to sit up in bed before Kalira burst into his room, eyes glowing with urgency. Get up. Ryan groaned. What now? Kalira tossed him a combat vest. They're coming. Ryan blinked. Who's coming? The walls shook. Outside, the deep thud of heavy boots filled the air. The unmistakable hum of Tiseri warships hovered overhead. Ryan's stomach twisted. Kalira's jaw tightened. Vakorin's forces. Ryan blinked. Wait, he brought an army. What happened to dueling like honorable warriors? Kalira clenched her fists. He isn't here to fight. He's here to take you. Ryan's blood ran cold. The attack begins. Kalira didn't wait for him to argue. She grabbed his arm and dragged him into the hallway just as the first explosion rocked the colony. Ryan stumbled, his brain struggling to catch up. Okay. This is bad. Very, very bad. Kalira's face was pure determination. You have two choices, Ryan. Ryan panted, trying to keep up. I love choices. She glanced at him. Run, or fight. Ryan swallowed hard. Running sounded amazing. Running meant not dying. But then he looked at her. at the way she stood tall despite the chaos, ready to throw herself into battle for his sake. He had seen this before. Sari warriors fought for honor. Kalira fought for him. Ryan clenched his fists. I think we both know what I'm gonna pick. Kalira grinned. Good. She tossed him a stun weapon. Try not to die. Ryan groaned. No promises. The last stand. The colony's main gates burst open, and Vakorin strode in like he already owned the place. His dark armor gleamed, his violet eyes burning with intensity. Behind him, elite Tsari warriors marched forward, their weapons humming. Ryan of Earth, Vakorin called, his voice echoing through the battered colony. Enough of these games. You do not belong here. Ryan wiped blood from his lip. Could have just sent an email. Man. Vakorin ignored him. His gaze landed on Kalira. Step aside. This does not concern you. Kalira laughed. A cold, sharp sound. You still don't understand, do you? She said. Ryan is my brother. Vakorin's expression darkened. Then you are a fool. Kalira smirked. Maybe. And then the fight began. Sari warriors clashed in a brutal battle. Kalira fought like a storm, weaving through enemies with deadly precision. Ryan fought like a human. He ducked, dodged, used the environment. Where the Tsari were predictable, Ryan was chaos. He tripped warriors, used debris to block attacks, and even managed to knock out one of Vakorin's elites by throwing a wrench at his head. It wasn't honorable. It was effective. Vakorin finally moved toward him, his violet eyes burning. You amuse me, human. Ryan panted. Glad I can entertain you. Vakorin raised his blade. But this ends now. Ryan braced for impact. Kalira intercepted. Her blade met Vakorin's in a clash of sparks. Their duel was fierce, neither giving an inch. But Ryan could see it. Vakorin was stronger. Kalira wouldn't last forever. Ryan needed to end this. A human's final move. Ryan's mind raced. He wasn't a warrior. He wasn't faster or stronger. But he was smarter. And Vakorin. He was arrogant. Ryan grabbed a discarded energy grenade from the ground. It was damage. Sparking. Perfect. He hurled it at Vakorin's feet. Vakorin saw the movement and instinctively slashed at the grenade. A fatal mistake. The unstable device exploded. It wasn't deadly, but it sent a shockwave through the battlefield, knocking Vakorin off balance. That was all Kalira needed. She slammed her fist into his chest, sending him crashing to the ground. Silence fell over the battlefield. Kalira stood over him, breathing hard. Vakorin struggled, his pride shattered. The warriors watching understood. He had lost. The bond that couldn't be broken. Ryan exhaled, still shaking from adrenaline. Did we just win? Kalira smirked. We won. Vakorin slowly sat up, glaring at Ryan. But this time, there was something different in his eyes. Not hatred. Not anger. Respect. You are no warrior, he admitted, but you are not weak. Ryan huffed. Glad we settled that before you blew up my house. Vakorin stood, dusting himself off. He looked at Kalira, then at Ryan. Finally, he nodded. The bond stands. Then he turned and left, his warriors following. A new beginning. As the dust settled, Ryan looked at Kalira. So, what now? She clapped a hand on his back, nearly knocking him over. Now, brother, we train. Ryan groaned. I hate my life. Kalira just laughed. And for the first time, Ryan realized he wasn't just some human caught in an alien mess. He belonged here, not as a warrior, not as a soldier, but as Kalira's brother. And nothing in the universe could change that.